Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We focus exclusively on spirituality, Vedanta, and Sanatana Dharma. If you have not already done so, please consider subscribing for regular updates. Our humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, our worshipful enlightened Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, all sages and saints, and to the divinity in each of you. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Mahabharata. Commentary is by our Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So in today's episode, we will study the Pandavas marry Draupadi. So after escaping from the burning palace, the Pandavas lived disguised as Brahmins in the house of a Brahmin. While there, Bhima destroyed a great demon named Baka. Then the Pandavas heard about a great Swayamvara in Panchala country that was being arranged for King Drupad's daughter Draupadi, and they decided to journey there with other Brahmins to attend the ceremony in which princes would come to vie for Draupadi's hand in marriage. That was the tradition at that time. All the kings were invited, suitable bachelor princes and kings who were ready to marry, but the princess was the one who would put the garland on the one she chose, and then there were generally some conditions that had to be fulfilled. The king, who had vowed within himself to marry his daughter to Arjuna, had been greatly distressed when he heard the stories about the Pandavas being killed in the burning palace. Hoping that the Pandavas had not actually been destroyed, Drupada planned the Swayamvara in hopes that it would draw Arjuna and his brothers out of hiding, as indeed it was destined to do. When the Swayamvara began, the Pandavas, still in disguise, sat with the Brahmins who had come to give blessings to the festivity. They watched the Kshatriya princes come one by one to attempt to perform the difficult task that King Drupad had designed for the suitors: to bend and string a powerful bow and then send 5 arrows hurtling through a revolving wheel to hit the high target. After all the Kaurava princes had failed, and Karna was rejected as a potential suitor because he was not from a royal Kshatriya family, Arjuna came forward, strung the bow, and hit the target effortlessly, thus winning Draupadi as his bride. When the Pandavas arrived home with Draupadi, they knocked at the door and said, "Mother, we have brought you something wonderful." Thinking they were referring to the alms they had collected, Kunti said, "Share it equally between the 5 of you." But when she opened the door and saw Draupadi, she began to grieve that she had uttered those words, but they could not be taken back. Thus the 5 Pandavas, honoring the words of their mother, agreed to share Draupadi as their wife. When King Drupada eventually found out that the Brahman who had won his daughter was none other than Arjuna, he was delighted and invited the Pandavas to come to the royal palace. Although the king was at first concerned about the unconventional marriage of his daughter to the 5 brothers, Sage Vyasa put Drupada's mind at ease by telling him a story from the heavenly worlds that pointed to the divine origin of the Pandavas as well as Draupadi. Thus the sage made Drupada confident that this unusual martial arrangement was in perfect accord with the divine plan, and the marriage was performed in royal fashion with great festivity. As with so many of the stories in the Mahabharata, the marriage of Draupadi to the 5 Pandava brothers has a meaning that is more mystical than literal. Mystically, Draupadi represents intellect or buddhi, which is married to the soul together with the 4 purusharthas or purposes of life, which we have covered previously. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, these four. As you practice meditation and discipline yourself, you begin to develop the support of the intellect within each of you. Advised and assisted by that intellect, you pursue these four purusharthas: the ethical values, the dharma, the material values, the artha, the vital values, kama, and finally, the strive for the spiritual value of life, or moksha. Just as Draupadi eventually became one of the main causes of the great Mahabharata war, so too intellect became the cause of the great battle known as sadhana, an aspirant's program of spiritual discipline in which one plans to destroy all the negative impressions of the mind with the help of the self, divine self, that is Krishna. So we will cover more in tomorrow's satsang. So I hope you're enjoying these mystical meanings and these wonderful details in this beautiful scripture, Mysticism of Mahabharata. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.